Have you ever considered that the way you cook or eat your eggs could silently increase your risk of dangerous blood clots? For millions of older adults, breakfast often starts with a couple of eggs in a skillet. It feels wholesome, hearty, and nutritious. But what if I told you that the very way you prepare those eggs might be increasing your risk for stroke, heart attack, or life-threatening clots, without you even realizing it? This isn't about scaring you away from eggs. Eggs can absolutely be part of a healthy diet. But there are 5 common mistakes seniors often make when it comes to cooking or eating eggs, mistakes that can quietly damage your arteries and make clot formation more likely. And unfortunately, these habits are so routine, so normalized, that you might never have questioned them. This video is especially for those between the ages of 55 and 85. If you're watching this, it means you care about your health, your independence, and your ability to live vibrantly in the years ahead. So stay with me, because in just a moment, I'm going to walk you through 5 specific egg mistakes to avoid and, more importantly, what to do instead. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand how to protect yourself from hidden clot risks, you'll feel more confident in making smart choices for your brain, blood, and long-term health. Mistake number 1: over-frying eggs in vegetable oil. One of the most common egg mistakes among older adults is frying eggs in highly processed vegetable oils, like corn oil, soybean oil, or canola oil, and doing it over high heat. It might sound harmless. After all, it's how most diners and households prepare them. But here's the problem. These oils are loaded with omega-6 fatty acids. When heated to high temperatures, they oxidize, breaking down into harmful compounds. These compounds can inflame your blood vessels, make your platelets stickier, and increase the risk of clot formation. And this isn't just a theory. Multiple studies have shown that oxidized fats, especially from overheated oils, increase blood viscosity, trigger inflammation, and damage the endothelium, the inner lining of your arteries. Older adults are particularly vulnerable to this. Why? Because as we age, our arteries become more delicate. Blood flow naturally slows down. And our body's ability to fight inflammation weakens. That combination turns a crispy fried egg from a comfort food into a vascular risk. Take George, 74, for example. He used to fry his eggs in corn oil every morning until the edges curled up golden and crispy. But after a mild stroke last year, his doctor suggested a small but powerful change. Switch to poached or soft-boiled eggs. Use olive oil or avocado oil sparingly, and never let it smoke. Within a few months, George's inflammation markers improved, his blood pressure came down slightly, and more importantly, his confidence returned. He felt empowered, not punished, because this change wasn't about giving up eggs. It was about cooking smarter for the stage of life he's in. So if you're in the habit of tossing eggs into a hot pan with vegetable oil, it might be time to rethink your approach. Try this instead. Use gentle cooking methods like poaching, steaming, or soft scrambling on low heat. If you must use oil, choose cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil or avocado oil. And remember, if your oil starts to smoke, it's already oxidized, and potentially harmful. Sometimes it's not what we eat that harms us, it's how we prepare it. Mistake number 2: undercooked eggs with runny whites. The second common mistake is eating eggs that are undercooked, especially when the egg whites are still runny or glassy. Yes, it's a classic, dipping toast into a soft yolk. Many people grew up with it. But here's what most seniors don't realize. Undercooked egg whites may contain harmful bacteria, like salmonella. And more importantly, certain proteins in raw egg whites can interfere with the absorption of biotin, a B vitamin essential for brain and nerve health. You might be thinking, I've eaten soft eggs my whole life and never had an issue. That may have been fine when you were younger. But as we age, our immune system weakens. Digestion slows down. And our ability to handle bacteria and infections declines. What might cause mild food poisoning in a 30-year-old can lead to serious complications in a 70 or 80-year-old, including dehydration, disorientation, or even hospitalization. So here's the takeaway. Make sure your egg whites are fully cooked, firm, white, and no longer slimy. It's a small shift that could prevent a very big problem. Example, Barbara, age 76. Barbara, 76, had always preferred her eggs with a soft center and slightly runny whites. It was a comforting habit she'd kept for decades. But after experiencing 2 mild gastrointestinal infections within a single year, her doctor took a closer look at her diet, and pointed directly to how she was cooking her eggs. At first, Barbara was skeptical. She'd eaten eggs this way for most of her life without any issues. But she decided to make a small change, cooking the whites fully while still keeping the yolk soft. Within a few weeks, she noticed her digestion had improved and her energy levels were higher. She didn't feel like she was giving up flavor, just updating her habits to fit what her body needed now. So, if your eggs jiggle when you tilt the plate or the whites still appear shiny and translucent, take that as your cue. Cook them just a bit longer, until the whites are firm and opaque. It only takes an extra minute, but it might help protect your digestion, brain function, and overall well-being for the long term. If you're still watching and finding this helpful, comment #2 below so I know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, tap that subscribe button and hit the bell icon. It really helps us keep creating helpful content for you. Mistake number 3, frying eggs in reused cooking oil. Another overlooked, yet surprisingly dangerous, habit among older adults is reusing oil to fry eggs. It might seem harmless, even smart. After all, why waste perfectly good oil? You fry your eggs in the morning, then pour the leftover oil into a jar to use the next day. It's economical. It feels responsible. But here's what many don't realize. Reused oil breaks down with each use, producing toxic compounds that are invisible, tasteless, and odorless, but deeply harmful. Each time you reheat cooking oil, especially vegetable-based oils, they generate more oxidized fats, aldehydes, and polar compounds. These unstable molecules are linked to inflammation, blood clot formation, arterial stiffness, and even memory decline. You may not see it. You may not smell it. But your blood vessels feel it, especially if you're over the age of 60. As we age, our endothelial function, the ability of our blood vessels to stay flexible and responsive, naturally decreases. That means our bodies are less able to deal with the stress of toxins and inflammatory foods. And reusing oil is like pouring more fuel on that internal fire. Frank's story, age 80. Frank, 80, a widower from a small Ohio town, had always been proud of living simply and frugally. He reused his cooking oil several times before replacing it, thinking he was just being wise with his groceries. But during a routine checkup, his doctor noticed mild plaque buildup in his arteries and elevated clotting factors in his blood. When they reviewed Frank's diet, the reused oil quickly stood out. Frank was stunned. He thought he was being resourceful, not harmful. After switching to fresh oil every time, just a tablespoon or two, Frank saw real results. Within 6 months, his blood markers improved, and his energy levels increased. He felt sharper, lighter, and more in control of his health. So if you find yourself pouring used oil back into a jar, pause and reconsider. Is that small savings really worth the risk to your heart and brain? These days, high-quality oils like avocado, olive, or grapeseed can be used sparingly and discarded guilt-free. Think of it not as waste but as a smart investment in your circulation, clarity, longevity. Your body doesn't need much, but it does need care, especially in the kitchen. Even something as simple as an egg can help determine whether your blood flows freely, or begins to slow under the weight of toxins you never meant to invite. Mistake number 4, pairing eggs with processed meats like bacon or sausage. Many older adults start their mornings with what's often seen as a classic American breakfast, a plate of eggs with a side of bacon or sausage. It's comforting, familiar, nostalgic. But it's also a dangerous combination for aging bodies. Mistake number 4, eating eggs with processed meats like bacon or sausage. It's comforting. For many, the smell of bacon and eggs sizzling in the pan brings back memories, lazy Sunday mornings, family breakfasts, or just the simple pleasure of a warm plate to start the day. But here's what most people don't realize. Pairing eggs with processed meats like bacon or sausage may be one of the most harmful combinations for your blood and brain health, especially if you're over 60. Let's break it down. Eggs on their own, especially when boiled or gently cooked, can be part of a healthy diet. They're rich in protein, healthy fats, and essential nutrients like choline, which supports brain function. But the problem begins when you combine those eggs with processed meats. These meats, like bacon, sausage, and ham, are often packed with nitrates and nitrites, sodium, saturated fats, and preservatives. This mix creates the perfect storm. Increased inflammation, higher clotting risk, damage to your blood vessels' inner lining. And over time, this can raise levels of LDL, bad cholesterol and triglycerides, both of which contribute to plaque buildup and narrowed arteries. It's not about one strip of bacon or a single egg. It's about what happens when this becomes your daily habit. In fact, many global health organizations classify processed meats as Group 1 carcinogens, meaning there's strong evidence linking them to chronic diseases, including cardiovascular disease and certain types of cancer. But this issue isn't just biological, it's emotional, too. For many older adults, bacon and eggs represent tradition. A sign of strength, simplicity, or even prosperity from earlier decades. So letting go of that breakfast ritual can feel like giving up a piece of yourself. But here's the truth. If that daily plate is slowly thickening your blood, narrowing your arteries, and setting the stage for a heart attack or stroke, it's not just breakfast anymore. It's a hidden threat, disguised as comfort. Barbara's story, age 72, Kansas. Barbara had eaten the same breakfast for over 30 years, 2 scrambled eggs and 3 strips of bacon. She was active, cheerful, and avoided smoking and drinking. On the surface, she seemed healthy. But during a routine checkup, her doctor noticed early signs of atherosclerosis, a buildup of plaque in her arteries. Barbara was shocked. "But I eat the same way I always have," she said. And that was exactly the issue. Her body, now in its 70s, wasn't reacting to food the same way it did in her 40s. With her doctor's guidance, she made one simple switch. She replaced bacon with sautéed mushrooms and spinach and added a slice of avocado on the side. 6 months later, her blood work improved. She felt lighter and clearer and had more energy in the mornings. So here's a suggestion. You don't need to give up eggs, just rethink what you serve with them. Try pairing eggs with steamed vegetables, a side of fresh berries, or a slice of whole grain toast drizzled with olive oil. Sometimes, it's not about giving things up, it's about combining more wisely. And as we age, that kind of wisdom becomes not just a lifestyle change but a lifeline. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, comment #4 below so I know you're here. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. Your support helps us keep bringing you clear, practical health information that makes a difference. Mistake number 5, reheating cooked eggs multiple times. It might seem like a small thing, popping yesterday's scrambled eggs into the microwave or warming up a leftover egg sandwich for convenience. But here's what many older adults don't realize. Repeatedly reheating cooked eggs, especially if they were stored improperly or cooked with oils and fats, can turn a once healthy meal into a quiet threat to your heart and brain. It's not about being paranoid, it's about understanding how our bodies change with age. And how simple habits, like how we store and reheat food, can either support our health or slowly sabotage it. Here's why. Eggs contain sulfur, which, when repeatedly heated, can react with iron and other minerals to form compounds that are harder to digest and more inflammatory. Reheating breaks down the protein structure in eggs, making them harder for the body to process. In some cases, this can trigger a mild immune response, a form of low-grade inflammation. For someone already managing high blood pressure, diabetes, or taking blood-thinning medications, this seemingly harmless practice could contribute to clotting risk. There's also a practical concern many people overlook: refrigeration and food safety. A cooked egg sitting in the fridge for 2 days might seem safe, but if it was left out too long before refrigeration, or if it's been reheated more than once, the risk of bacterial growth, like salmonella, increases significantly. Older adults have weaker immune defenses. A stomach bug that a younger person might recover from in a day or two could land a senior in the hospital with dehydration or complications. So here's what to do instead. Cook what you'll eat fresh, and avoid saving egg dishes for multiple reheats. If you must store them, refrigerate within 2 hours, and reheat only once. Choose gentle reheating methods, and always make sure the eggs are thoroughly warmed through. It's a small step, but it could protect your digestion, your energy, and your circulation. Mistake number 5: reheating cooked eggs multiple times. It seems like such a small thing, warming up yesterday's scrambled eggs or reheating an egg sandwich from the fridge for convenience. But as we get older, our bodies don't respond the way they used to. And what once felt practical, can quietly turn into something dangerous. You see, reheating is not the same as fresh cooking. Every time you apply heat to an already cooked egg, you chip away at its nutrients. You disturb its delicate structure, especially the fats in the yolk, which oxidize with repeated heating. And those oxidized fats? They raise your LDL cholesterol, thicken your blood, and speed up the hardening of your arteries. It doesn't happen overnight. It builds, quietly, invisibly, until one day your doctor looks up and says, "Your cholesterol spiked. Your arteries are narrowing." And you sit there wondering, how? Walter's story, age 78, Oregon. Walter, a retired teacher and widower, liked to keep things simple. He prepped meals for the week, storing cooked eggs in plastic containers. On busy days, he'd microwave them, once, sometimes twice. At first, he noticed small things. A little bloating after breakfast. A wave of fatigue hit after lunch. A few unexplained spikes in blood pressure. Nothing serious, until it was. During a checkup, his doctor asked him about his meals. When Walter mentioned the reheated eggs, alarms went off. With some gentle changes, freshly cooked eggs in smaller batches, less microwaving, more awareness, his symptoms eased. And Walter felt steadier, clearer, and more in tune with his body. This isn't to scare you away from leftovers. It's to remind you of something vital. As we age, freshness matters more. Our immune systems weaken after 65. They don't respond to foodborne bacteria the way they once did. And even when bacteria isn't the issue, the way food changes through reheating can still pose a threat. Sulfur in eggs can interact with iron and minerals to create harder-to-digest compounds. The proteins denature, and your body may start to treat them as invaders, triggering low-grade inflammation. And if you already have diabetes, high blood pressure, or take blood thinners, that inflammation can tip the balance toward clot formation. So what can you do? Cool and refrigerate cooked eggs within 2 hours. Eat them within 24 hours, if possible. Only reheat once, and make sure they're warmed evenly. Or better yet, prepare only what you need, and enjoy them fresh. Yes, it takes a few extra minutes. But those minutes could save you years of health, strength, and independence. You're not just preserving flavor. You're preserving your freedom. Final thoughts, a wake-up call worth listening to. If you've made it this far, pause for a moment, and truly acknowledge something powerful. You care. You care deeply about your body, your well-being, and your future. And that mindset? That mindset already puts you miles ahead of most people. You didn't come here for scare tactics or flashy headlines. You came here to take back control, to understand how small, everyday choices can either heal or harm. That right there is the difference between simply aging, and aging with clarity, strength, and dignity. Today, we uncovered 5 small mistakes, the kind that hide in plain sight, tucked inside a food most of us grew up trusting, eggs. This isn't about cutting eggs out of your life. It's about waking up to how they're prepared, combined, stored, and reheated. It's about realizing that sometimes the most innocent habits, like frying in reused oil or pairing with bacon, can quietly become the most dangerous. But here's the most important part. Every time you make a better choice, no matter how small, you send a message to your body and your brain. I'm still in this fight. I still matter. My health, my future, my life, they're worth protecting. I know change isn't easy. Especially when these routines have been part of your life for decades. But you're not alone. Thousands of others, just like you, are waking up to the idea that aging doesn't have to mean decline. It can mean wisdom, resilience, and even renewal, if you give your body the same care you've given everyone else all your life. So, as you move through your day, I invite you to take a fresh look at your kitchen, your fridge, and your habits. Ask yourself, is this helping me live stronger, longer, and clearer? If the answer is yes, celebrate it. If the answer is no, now you know exactly what to change. You've earned the right to feel good. To feel sharp. To stay independent. Don't let careless cooking, or old habits, steal that from you. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. We'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your voice matters. Your story might just inspire someone else. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone you care about. Your support allows us to keep creating meaningful content to inform and empower you. Stay strong. Stay wise. And we'll see you in the next video.